Today I'd like to talk about Disney Vinylmation figures. These are sort of an urban vinyl figure put out by Disney, and this is an example of one, being Jedi Luke, of course. They have a number of Star Wars-related series that they've put out, and as well as, of course, Disney characters and things like that. These are sort of collector figures. They tend to be little on the more expensive side, especially if you want to get some of the rarer chase figures, are the ones that they're. Well, let me explain first of all that these are blind boxed, so you don't know what you're getting in the box, and you have to open it up and find out. And then, if you're lucky, you might get one of the rarer characters that or variants that are sort of randomly placed in the boxes. But yeah, these can be on the expensive side. They're all using the same sort of body and head, which is of course Mickey Mouse's body and head, and they are all differentiated by the different paint that they use, and occasionally they use an accessory like this, a lightsaber, but generally speaking, at least the ones I have don't really come with accessories. So what I want to do is show you some of the Jabba's Palace ones that I have, and we'll just see how it goes. The first one I'm going to show you is Jabba himself. Now, I'm not going in chronological order. These were released over the last 2-3 years at different times. These are released generally, well, have been in the past anyway, at Star Wars weekends, which is a kind of a Star Wars themed thing that happens in the summer. I think they're no longer doing that after Disney acquired Star Wars, but in the beginning they were. And now that they have acquired Star Wars, it kind of gives these figures some new meaning. But in any case, here is Jabba. He's got his ears with sort of a sand pattern. The one I showed you earlier here, Luke, had ears that looked just sort of like sky and a little sand. How they handle the ears is kind of one of the appeal, the attractions of these, just to see what they do. A lot of times it's a background thing, but it might be something that's attached to the character's head or something like that. But generally speaking, it's just the exact same Mickey Mouse shape. So, seeing how they deal with that is kind of part of the appeal, I think. Now, in this, they've made the feet look like it's just part of its belly, I guess, and then the tail comes down, although you'd think they should have painted this part too. Anyway, that's the first one. And to go along with Jabba, we of course have Bib Fortuna. Bib, his ears have the sort of curved archway that we see in Jabba's palace a lot. Next to him, we'll have a Gamorrean guard. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it looks really good, quite well done. He also has the curved archway, but also his horns are painted on his ears there. And he comes with this axe accessory. Pretty well done, I think. Next we have, I guess, Leia as Bosch. Same Jabba's Palace archway. And I think these were all part of, well, the ones with the archway were all part of the same series. Let's see, next we have Lando in his skiff guard disguise. And this one has the sky and sand ears, just like we had with Luke. Now, these do have posable heads and arms. The legs don't turn generally, or ever, I guess. This next one is a little bit of an exception. This is a figure of Rebo, who is a Jabba's Palace character, and they put his little ears and whatever these things are, horns on his ears. He's kind of a mascot of Star Wars weekends when they have him with this 3-lensed camera. It's like he's there at Star Wars weekends on vacation or something like that. They've also made a 3 3/4 inch figure of this guy, as I recall, with the camera. Next we have Klaatu. This one was a later series, and he has a sail barge on his ears. We have Loula, which I'm very glad to see that they did. She rather has, well, a rather skimpy outfit, a little scandalous outfit on, and they've made her head tentacles, Lekku, be on her ears there, which is kind of interesting. No, I can't get them all on camera. I'll put her in the back. We have Max Rebo, and this also has the sail barge on his ears. It's kind of interesting how they've painted his nose on here and painted the piano on the lower half of the body. It looks kind of like he's wearing piano pants, but if you look at it just the right way, it sort of works. Next, we have, well, actually what we want to show you now are some of the other figures that they have. They've done, in addition to these standard sort of 3-inch figures, they've done some a little more unusual ones and some different sized ones. So we have here Boom, Han in carbonite. This was sort of a special thing that they sold on its own. It wasn't in a blind box, and he even comes out of his carbonite block, which is pretty cool. Definitely a must-have decoration for a Jabba's Palace display. Put him in the back there. They also have, as I said, different sized ones. So I'm going to show you this one first. This is the Rancor Boom. He's gigantic. In fact, I'm going to have to move some of these guys out of the way so we can get a good look at them. We'll just sort of put them off to the side. So these giant ones, again, were sold separately. They weren't blind boxed, of course. He's got ears that show what appear to be the underside of the Rancor pit, which is kind of cool. He's got his earring and his manacle here. I think, you know, given the restrictions that they had with this base body, it came out pretty well. Now, he was actually in a part of a set that came with the Rancor Keeper, and he's even got a little chain here that you can sort of pretend is attached. I think that's pretty good. The other jumbo figure that I have is none other than Jabba himself. There he is. Set him next to him. And as you can see, on his ears, we've sort of got the Jabba's arch, Jabba's palace arch, and he's actually sitting on Jabba's throne, unlike the first one I showed you. This seems to be a little bit better design, frankly, because this just doesn't really do it for me. But yeah, if you turn him around, just looks like he's on the throne. There's his tail. He's got his tattoo there, and generally speaking, I would say this is a pretty good design. This one came with a teeny tiny little Salacious Crumb. If we can show, there he is. Now, frankly, when you pair these two together, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He's much too small, in my opinion. It would made more sense to include, if you're going to have this as be a set, to have him be this size, right? Have Salacious Crumb be the normal size. But if you think about these two together, that works. So maybe I will be displaying them together like that. Finally, I have one thing that's sort of an oddity. This is something I picked up on eBay a little while ago. It's based on the vintage Jabba figure, which of course I'm a big fan of, but they have replaced his head with one of these large Vinylmation heads, and then put the arms back on and painted it as though the head was still there. And it's quite an interesting effect, I think. A little bizarre. We've got the palace archway there, and on the back they've painted a Jabba's palace exterior scene. I just thought that was an interesting little oddity. Now, in addition to these ones that I've shown you, very recently there has come out a Vinylmation Eaches figure, which is basically a very limited figure that well, in this case, it's limited to 1,500 pieces, and then 1 out of every 10 is going to be a different character, actually. 9 out of 10 are Size Noodles. 1 out of every 10 are Droopy McCool. And I'll have to say I'm not thrilled with this idea, because this means that it's really hard to complete the Rebo band with this. Now, as I showed you earlier, they already have a max Rebo, so ideally we would get one of each in these boxes, but may or may not be possible. The other thing is, these are expensive. These were $16.99 a piece, which is a lot more than the other ones have been. I don't know if that's the new retail price for these Vinylmation figures, or if, because they're limited edition, that they're more expensive. But anyway, I'm going to open these up, and keep your fingers crossed for me. I want to hope that one of these is Droopy McCool, because if not, I'm probably never going to get him, because he's going for outlandish prices on eBay, like $150 to $200, something like that. And frankly, I'm just not going to pay that. So let's start with this one. Now they're, of course, blind boxed and then packaged in a foil bag. Let's see if these have some sort of opening tab. Doesn't seem to. Okay, hold on. Get my opener out. What do we got? Oh, we got a Size Noodles, and this is a nice figure, I must say. I like the way they've used clear ears here to represent her eyes. I don't remember seeing them using clear on previous figures, at least for Star Wars. And, generally speaking, pretty nice. Even have a little feather there. So, that's that one. Let's see what we have in the other one. Dun, 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 dun. The moment of truth. Ah, crap. Well, that was a waste of money. Oh well. I guess I'm just going to have to keep an eye out on eBay to see if Droopy goes for a more reasonable price. I don't have real high hopes for that, because it's limited to just 150 figures, and probably most of the people who have it know what they have, so they're going to want top dollar for it. But we'll see. You never know. That's about it for today's video. If you'd like to see some more like this, I happen to have some. These fine handcrafted videos are available on my channel. And if you'd like to be notified when I make new ones, feel free to subscribe. Thanks very much for watching.